rows switch together. You guys pair up 2, 4, 6. Tina, leave a little space so I can say that you're my partner. How lucky are you?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so what we found on today, first period, is that Friday after homework, and this might just apply to we'll find out in a second, but no one had any questions, but then when I put up a couple example problems like I'm going to do in a second, they couldn't do the example problems, which means the focus was on the answers to the homework and not the method for solving the homework problem. Do you understand the difference?
Yes.
Looking at your homework just to make sure that you have 7 as the answer is not what you should be doing. You should be making sure you understand the method to solve that problem. Okay? So, I've got a couple example problems for you. When's your birthday?
October 4th.
That would be 10.
Wait.
Your birthday's coming up.
Yeah, that's it.
Are you bringing in trees?
Sure.
All right, because it's not your birthday if you don't bring in trees.
I thought it was in July. What a friend you are.
Liam, when's your birthday?
November 1st.
Are you the youngest in your family?
No, I have a little brother.
You have a little brother. When's your brother's birthday?
January 18th.
Okay, so he was born after you,
Yeah.
and 18th you said?
Yeah.
And that's not a good day, so we'll make that negative also. Okay, good. Calculate the slope, please. That's the idea, yeah. I didn't just move you next to somebody for moral support.
It's X.
Oh wait. Or no, it would be positive.
Yeah, okay, we're good.
Positive.
And negative divided by negative.
Positive. So it'd be
No way, we're too good.
we're done.
Alright, and I was such a bad friend. When is my birthday?
December.
Or no, it'd be positive.
You already beat me, you got the one.
Wait, Max.
Oh, I did birthday.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you said Joe.
No. I feel ashamed that my brother.
I really didn't know when your birthday was. I just didn't.
JT, what'd you get? 2?
Yeah.
Come here. Did you get out of there easily? Yeah, you'll manage. Take this. Over on the bar over there, click on whatever color you'd like. Okay, show us.
Show us how.
Yeah.
Okay. This is where I got to. I get how to do it from here, but so
Let's see if his brain grows.
you put in a coordinate pair, or
I don't know.
yeah.
Okay, so tell us where your initial equation, or your initial expression, because there's no equal sign up there, Where'd the negative 18 minus 4 over 2 come from?
Well, that's y2 minus y1 over
Okay.
2.
Y over 2.
Y over. That I don't know. I forget. Oh. J.
Are you jumping in as his partner?
Yeah.
Go. Oh yeah, well, yeah. Sure. Mi casa, su casa. Ooh, she's taking over. Did you guys not have time to consult? Did I?
No,
was
not
I-
really.
Oh, I'm sorry, I was too quick. Ooh,
That's the equation.
all right, keep going, because that's not what he has.
Oh, no. Okay.
If you go too fast, it can't keep up with you.
Okay.
Okay, do we like that better?
Yes.
Yeah. So JT, I think what you did is confuse slope with midpoint formula.
Yeah.
Midpoint formula divide by 2. Thank you. Golf clap please for that group. Brendan has a question?
Isn't it y1 minus y2?
Ooh, excellent question. Did everybody hear his question? He said, isn't it y1 minus y2 over
x1 minus
x1 over x2, x1 minus x2? That is an excellent question. What's the answer?
Either way.
It doesn't matter. Right, they're the same thing. Because we did it differently. We did 4 minus negative 18 over 10 minus negative 1, but we got the same answer. Okay, easy? Good, let's ramp it up a little bit, shall we?
Oh no.
That's okay, nobody will get hurt. Faith, what's your favorite number? Any particular reason? Oh, nice. And how many pets do you have? None. Okay, I like that. And what year were you born? 2002 was 15 years ago. Okay, solve that.
Alright,
If this one works out well, even I'm gonna freak out. That's my point. Okay, don't copy.
What are you doing?
Set up an equation.
So actually what speech? And that's way too easy. Because 2 minus 0 is 7. And 28 minus a negative 13
Whichever you
is
prefer.
7.
I can work with either. I'm fairly smart about this.
you did negative.
Okay.
Wait, this.
Wait, hold on. When we started working on it, it turned out to be way too easy. Let's change the 0 to some other number. Tanner, how many donuts can you eat in one sitting?
I don't get any, so
But if you did,
I have no clue.
12.
I'm gonna say like
3 donuts. Change the 0 to a 3, please. That'll make it more funner.
Okay.
Because it's gooder than fun.
You add.
Trust you.
8 plus 5.
That still equals. Now what?
Wait.
What do you do?
Oh. What? I don't know. Okay. So, what's 43?
Okay, how did
86.
negative?
But
Wait.
equals 86.
Negative 16 minus 28, that equals
Okay, find x. Slope is.
I like that.
Wait. So it's just rise over run. So x would be negative 7.
That's a good move.
Because to get from x to 0, you have to add 7.
That's not the rest.
But the rise is over the so 7 would be the rise. Also x would be the run.
So this.
So then would x would be
You guys have any
negative
idea?
2? No.
What have you been doing?
I don't know, I feel like I'm on something, but she's just looking at me like I'm crazy.
Yeah, you're looking at me like I'm crazy.
Okay, so if the run is 2, to get from one point to the next, you have to move 2. So when it's just negative 2, and then you move 2 over, and it's
Well, we got to find out.
so x would be negative 2.
I don't know.
Because then you add 7, and you add whatever.
How are you defining ugly?
Well, no.
It doesn't work for the others.
Bring a time for me.
I didn't need to, but yes, I did. You get it from me.
I didn't know where it went.
One over there.
Leave your answer in fraction form, please. I understand.
Fraction form? Like, I don't know what this is.
Yeah, I don't know.
You got 107 over 7 equals 50.285. I don't know, I'm just looking off my scale.
Why are you looking off there?
Because I said if
They
you
might have
just
the wrong answer.
It's not antenna.
Antenna.
Right.
Antenna.
Matt, that's what you saw, correct?
Antenna.
Oh,
You look yourself up on
Oh,
Google.
yeah. No, not finals. For birthday.
I don't know.
But when
You can celebrate it on a Friday or it's like if you're born on leap year, you don't only celebrate your birthday every 4 years. Again, we can change the color first though, so we can see where
brother
it's.
likes goldfish. He did a thing.
I don't know.
Okay, so this problem, while she's working, I'm going to talk. This is the problem I was referring to, is that there were problems like this on the homework yesterday, but Friday no one asked a question.
There was no
So-
homework.
Sorry, on Thursday nights.
Oh, that's silly.
Funny guy.
Funny guy.
Envelopes aren't everything.
So sad.
Stop. Step to the side. What did she just do? Beautiful. Y2 minus Y1 over X2 minus X1, also known as the slope formula. And we know that that's equal to M. However, in this problem, I also told you that M is equal to, back to you, Grace.
7 over 2.
7 over 2. Beautiful. Okay, so hold on. Now, 2 steps to the problem. Actually, there's multiple steps. The first would be understanding what the problem is asking. It's still just a slope calculation. She set up her equation, and it is an equation because it's got an equal sign. Now, so that's the first part. That's the geometry aspect of it. Now we get into the algebra aspect when we watch her work her magic and solve the problem.
Oh my god.
Ooh. What's the fancy term for making bubbles like that?
Cross multiply.
Cross multiplying. Awesome. In that step, what's most important are those parentheses because she has to distribute the 7 to the 3 and the negative x. Keep going. And chose to use distributed property on the right-hand side too. I like it. Keep going.
This is a note for myself. X
Negative over negative is
positive.
positive, so x equals.
I just rounded.
I understand. That's fine. How about the golf clap, please? And again, for our discussion purposes, we'd like to leave that as 107 over 7, unless the problem specifically says to give a decimal equivalent. Okay. Negative over negative is positive. I have one small little tidbit here, and that is when you do this, don't put that line there because then it looks like you're dividing by negative 21. Okay, instead of subtracting 21. Good. You could take the same problem and make the y the missing value and solve again. But it comes down to the same thing. Understanding the concept of the slope, setting up your equation, and then knowing the algebra in order to be able to solve that. Questions on either one of these puppies? Beautiful. Let's move on then. Can I erase or are you still? Okay. All right, I'll just hang up.
Mr. E, what's our next quiz?
I don't know. When do you want the next quiz?
Never.
Okay. No more quizzes. Everything's a test now.
Cool. Okay. I'll take that.
We good?
Yeah.
Going once, going twice, sold. Okay, come back here, start this bad boy. We're going to build on the slope thing and do some equations of lines. Theoretically, this should all be review for you, but that ain't going to be the case. Or you quote unquote, I forgot all this stuff. So we're going to go slow. This lesson is pretty much a ton of examples. After we talk about the 3 different ways that you can talk about equations of lines. What are the 3 different forms for equations of lines? Y-intercept, right? Disgusting, I hate it. Standard form, the worst of all the forms. And, guess third? Point slope, the greatest of all forms. One of my goals today is to convince you that point slope is what all the cool kids are doing. However, some of you are not going to be able to give up slope-intercept form. You just love it to death. That whole y equals mx plus b thing. It's atrocious. In y equals mx plus b form, what's the m stand for? What's b stand for?
Y-intercept.
Y-intercept. Okay. Hence the reason it's called slope-intercept form. Point slope form. You got a slope. You got a point. You don't plug into x and y, you plug into x1 and y1. I threw standard form up there just so you can see it and hopefully build up that serious loathing that you should have for standard form, because it is just evil. No reason to use it. Have you seen all 3 of these before? Good. You ready? How about now? Bonnie, what do you got?
Y equals 6x, x minus 3.
Perfect. Pretty much a plug and chug, right? Good. One of the things I continually ask my calculus students, which I will continually ask you too, is what are the 2 things that we need for the equation of a line? And or what are the 2 things that we need to graph a line? And it's a simple, go ahead, you want to take a shot at it?
Sure.
Go.
A point and a slope.
Point and a slope, that's it. Everything comes down to point and slope. What about this problem? Do you have a point and a slope? You have a slope, what about a point?
Y-intercept.
What is that point?
Negative 3. No. 0, negative 3. No. Yeah, 0, negative 3. Yes. Yes. No. Yes.
I'm just messing with you. You got it right the second time.
Yeah.
0, negative 3. Okay, good. Any problems? Slope-intercept form. Now, why would you use slope-intercept form even though we don't like it? Because it's easy, because you're giving us the intercept and a slope. This one, that one. Point-slope form. I gave you a point, I gave you a slope. Put it in point-slope form. And remember, you plug into x1, y1, not into x and y. But we see that we have the 2 things we need. We need a slope and we need a point. Are you okay?
Yeah, there's something in my eye.
Other than your finger? Okay? I'm gonna wash it out with some Diet Mountain Dew. That'll clean it right out for you. Faith, what do you got?
I got y minus 8 equals 4 parentheses x plus 2.
Beautiful. Yes?
Yeah.
We're good? Excellent. In example number 3, I ramped it up in 2 ways. Number 1, I gave you 2 lines to find, and number 2, what chunk of information are we missing?
What?
Slope. Can you find the slope though?
Yes.
Yes, you can. Do that, please. In fact, let's get crazy. If you are the left partner, do the first line. If you're the right partner, do the right line. Each of you have the possibility of 3 different answers. Well, technically 4, but 3 for practical purposes, because nobody wants to put it in standard form. Do you understand where the 3 answers come from?
I don't.
Okay. Did you really want me to?
I plugged in the.
Okay.
If A gives your integers.
Let's see. I'll guess. Oh, I know. That you can roll a ball 3 miles. Am I close? Okay, go ahead. Terrific. See it there, you know. He like, yo, I could help you with that. All he had to do is ask. All right, solutions. Let's deal with the lefties first. People on the left, what'd you get for a slope?
3/2.
Do we all agree? 3/2.
Yes.
Anybody not have 3/2? No brains were growing at that point? Okay. Slope equals 3/2. 3 different answers. Where do they come from? Joanna, which one do you have?
Oh, the point slope.
Go.
Y minus 9 equals 3/2. In parentheses, x minus 4.
Lefties, who had that one? Who didn't raise a hand? You got a different one?
No, I did that one.
Same one, same one. Face, same one, different one. Nobody did the other one? Yeah? What do you got?
I got y equals 3/2 x minus 3.
Y equals 3/2 x minus 3. Do you want those parentheses there?
No.
So I screwed up. So you said y equals 3/2 x minus 3?
Yes.
Where'd that come from?
I kind of graphed it on the y.
You trusted a graph?
Yeah.
Let's see. It says -6%. I believe it should be +3 though. Yeah. That's the second answer. Where's the third answer come from? Go.
My God, y equals 3/2 in parentheses x plus 2.
Okay, so there's that one answer. This gave us that answer, and then that is slope-intercept, which you can get graphing or you can get by converting. Again, I'm going to try to convince you that these are the way to go. This is icky.
Why?
Why? This is gross. This is too much work. It's not fluid. It doesn't, it's just not, it's not pretty. All right, so this is another example of memorization versus understanding. So you could write this slide down and go home and just memorize that horizontal lines have a slope of 0 and therefore their equations are y equals 3. Or you can strive for some understanding. The question is, why does this equal y equals 3? If you think about a horizontal line, the one thing that all horizontal lines have in common, let me rephrase that. The one thing that all the points on a horizontal line have in common is the fact that they all have the same y value. So see if you can visualize that in your head. You take a horizontal line, let's say at y equals 3. Every one of those points is going to be something comma 3. And since the y value is fixed at 3, and the x value can be anything, we get this equation of a line being y equals 3. You all know that the slope of a vertical line is undefined. So what makes a vertical line special? They have all the same x values. Every point on the line x equals -4 has an x value of -4. A variety of y values, but only one x value. Okay, so let's see if this makes any sense. You could graph this if you want. I wouldn't bother with it though. I want a horizontal line that passes through the point -7, 8. You pretty much have two answers here. It's either x equals something or y equals something. And again, if you get into the understanding here, it'll make it a lot easier. Okay, what do you got for me?
Y equals 8.
Y equals 8. Everybody else agree or disagree?
Agree.
Could you explain it to us, Kev? And if your explanation is, well, I just memorized it, that's okay.
It's like, since the horizontal line is at this is the yx, and then it's a horizontal line at 8, so it stays at 8. It doesn't like go down or up, so it has to stay at 8.
Love it. And of course, you know, the second example is just going to be a vertical line through a point, which would be
X equals -4.
perfect. X equals -4. Not a big deal, just making sure you understand the difference between horizontal and vertical and how they relate to their respective variables, whether it relates to x and y. As much as I hate standard form, I think it's not fair, I think it's appropriate that we at least have one example involving standard form. And that's not it. Where's my standard form example? Oh, yeah, do a couple others first. Hey, what do we know about the slope of perpendicular lines? Madam? Could you say that again, please? I'm not sure if I heard you correctly. Nope. Not your right, just Grace? Nope.
Opposite reciprocal.
Opposite reciprocals. What does that mean in English? So a third grader comes in here and you're trying to explain opposite reciprocal to a third grader. As soon as you say opposite reciprocal, they're going to run out of here crying.
Right, so you flip the fraction, so the bottom number is on the top and the top number is on the bottom, and then you change, if it's a positive, you would put a minus sign in front of it, and then if there's a minus sign, then you take away the minus sign.
Would a third grader get that?
Yes.
Yeah. Do you?
Yeah.
Good. What's the slope of that given line in this example?
3/5.
3/5. Remember, perpendicular upside down, capital T. What's the opposite reciprocal of 3/5? Okay.
Me?
Yeah.
-5/3.
-5/3. After doing that, this problem becomes just like the other 6 that we've done. I have a slope now, I have a point, plug and chug. If I have a point and a slope, which form do you think would be best to use?
Point slope.
Point slope. Yes. However, what can you tell me about that point? Anything special in this particular example? Amanda? It also happens to be the y-intercept, but again, we'll pretend that's not happening. I just thought I'd mention that. Y minus 8 is equal to -5/3 times a quantity x minus 0, but you're all smart enough to realize that that doesn't matter, so we get that. Oh, look, if I convert, ooh, same. 2 different answers, which are actually the same answer for that particular problem. Pregunta? Sí.
Find the y-intercept.
How could you find the y-intercept?
Yeah, like there is no like 0, 8.
So you just have a general equation and you just want to know the y-intercept? What's true about all points on the y-axis? So let's take a line. Olivia, give me an equation of a line in point slope form. Just make up numbers. Y minus
6.
equals, give me a slope. Get a little crazy here. 13 over 32. Oh. This will be a joy. And minus or plus?
Plus.
Of course. Just 3. You fire off 13 30 seconds, but then you just want a +3 there. Okay, so the question is, what's the y-intercept of that line? Why? Felt good though, right? Sounded good. That's fine. Let's ask somebody else and see if that's the right answer. It might be, I don't know. Now we hear enough out of you. Kev, how do I find the y-intercept?
No clue.
What's true about all the points on the y-axis? Anybody else? You're a minute. Twitch there? No, we've heard enough out of you. I just gonna wait till you raise your hand. No? Are you raising your hand? No? You wanna tell me anyways? That's what you think the y-intercept is? Okay, so forget about the problem, answer my question first. What's true about all points on the y-axis? Look at.
They're the same value.
What? Be more specific. What's the same value for all of them?
Or like the number, or the point.
Maybe if you're more specific. What's the same?
Wait, the points,
What part of the points?
the x or the y value,
Which one, the x or the y?
the y.
The y values are all the same? Here's my graph. I take a point up here and I take a point down there.
The x value,
Yeah. And in fact, what is that x value?
the x-intercept, or
No.
y-intercept.
What numerical value is it? Okay. What's coordinate of that point?
0.
What?
0.
0, comma, whatever, 7. What's the coordinate of that point?
0, -8.
So, any point on the y-axis has an x value of 0. Can you use that to find the y-intercept? How?
By looking at the y value.
What would the y value be? How do you find that?
Well, when check distribute 13 seconds to the 3 and then add 6.
And eventually that'll give us what?
7.2.
Because I've got two variables in this equation, don't I?
Well, it's on the calculator, I put 13 seconds multiplied by 3, and I added 6.
Correct.
And I got
But
7.
again, you still have two variables with one equation. And we want to know what y is, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
You plug 0 in for x, because all of the y-intercepts have an x value of 0.
There you go. You want to find the y-intercept, plug 0 in for x and solve for y. But again, that's why I don't want to use slope-intercept, because I don't want to have to go through that hassle. You can see how little fun that would be, because you'd have to take 30 seconds and add 6 to it, which we can all do because we're really good at math, but why bother with the hassle? Okay. Leave it in this form. We're good to go. Okay, and I actually erased the problem we were working on here. Or did we finish this? We did. Okay, good. Let's move on to the next one then. What do you know about the slope of parallel lines? No. We heard James. No, we did hear from James. It's nice of him to volunteer you. But did you really need his? No, it's kind of a joke. You can come up later. We'll hear the notes later. Just in case this ends up in court, I was kidding about the locker thing, so that, that was a joke. So, no, I'm not legally responsible. What? Oh, no, we're done with you. What did you say? They're the same, right? Parallel lines have the same slope. What's the slope of that given line? -3. So we have a slope of -3. Now we have a point of -4,3, and by now you should be able to work with point-slope form, put it together into the equation of a line, and life is good. Save the best for last. Try that one. said something before I cleaned the desk. Okay?
Yes.
Alright, I'm not gonna like throw up or anything, right?
I'm not gonna,
'Cause that would be awesome. It would totally start a chain reaction.
Clean it all in the pie every day.
What's that?
And then we can clean it all after.
Oh, I'm not cleaning, I'm running. First person that pukes, I run. I don't deal with puke. Never have, even with my own kids. I'd run away like a screaming little child. One of my kids is Ralph and I just run. Can't handle it. So if I name you Ralph, I'm out. What chunk of information are we missing, Bethany?
The slope.
The slope. How are we gonna find the slope?
No idea.
Okay. Liam?
I don't know.
Okay. Caroline, how are we gonna find the slope of that line?
I think it, for number 7, when you asked if we finished it, I think I got in my head yes, but I don't think we did. We did?
Yeah, it would be y minus 8 equals negative 5 turds times the quantity x minus 0. So the question on the floor seems to be, how do I find the slope of this line? Back to you, Liam.
Would you have
Did you have an epiphany?
Would you have to change that into?
I think he just ignores me and just keeps going on.
Would you have to change that into slope-intercept form?
Oh, how would one do that?
We'd have to have it be y equals the slope
How do I get there?
times x.
I'm sorry?
Yeah.
How? I like that idea. Let's see where it gets us.
You subtract 2x from both sides.
Okay, so I'd have negative 3y is equal to negative 2x plus 12. It's a good start.
Okay.
And then you subtract or divide negative 3 to both of the numbers, negative 2x and 12.
So you're suggesting, if I'm hearing you correctly, I do this.
Yeah.
Hot diggity.
And then you get y equals 2 over 3x.
Or as my grandfather would say, 2 turds.
And then minus 4. Your slope is 2 over 3.
Beautiful. But we're doing perpendicular, so the slope of this line is 2 turds. What's the slope of the perpendicular, Kev? Shh. Other Kev.
Negative 3 halves.
Beautiful. And I got a point, right? So bring it home. What's my final answer? I'll get you started.
Y equals
Point slope form.
y plus 6
It's a good start.
equals
Uh-huh.
negative 3 halves parentheses x minus or x plus 1.
Well done. Good job. Hey, that was fun, wasn't it? Okay, a little bit of manipulation. And the other thing, the most important thing I want you to get out of this lesson today is that you have to ask more questions.